homeschooling mom of 3 neurodivergent children, and today I am going to be talking about my middle child, our daughter Sophie, who will be going into 2nd grade. She is 7 years old. This last year she was diagnosed with ADHD, so she is neurodivergent like the rest of us. She's very similar to me in that way, in that she has ADHD but not autism, but has some similar struggles like I had. In particular, she was having a lot of trouble with learning how to read, but since we found the reading curriculum that we found, that has completely done a 180, and now she loves reading. It's her favorite subject. So I'm going with it. She still, however, is really struggling with math. We're not sure if she has a learning disability like dyscalculia, or we haven't had her evaluated for that, but that is something that we have struggled with. So I'll discuss all that when I go over why I chose the curriculum choices for her that I did. So let's get started. These are the curriculum choices that I chose for my upcoming 2nd grader for the 2022-2023 school year. So let's start out with language arts first. So if you haven't seen the video I did talking about my son, and he's going to 4th grade, I talked about his curriculum choices. I talked about a similar thing that's going on with him, that's going on with my daughter, and that we have some things that we started last year and we've done through the summer that we will just continue on into the next school year. And that is one of the beautiful things about homeschooling, is we don't have to have these hard and fast boundaries about when certain curriculums start and stop. We just go with the flow, and as they progress at their own pace, and we just change curriculums over as they happen organically. So we're not necessarily changing curriculums to say this is 2nd grade, we have to start exactly 2nd grade curriculum, because in some areas she's ahead and some areas she's behind. So we're just going with the flow with where she is at. So let's start by talking about the logic of English. Our guinea pigs are making noises. What are you guys doing over there? Anyway, if you haven't seen my review on the logic of English, I will link that here in the cards and in the description below. We are in love with this curriculum. It has completely turned around learning how to read for my daughter. It went from being her worst subject to her absolute best subject, and now she loves reading and she loves learning how to read. This is her favorite curriculum. Like, if I tell her that we're going to skip something for the day, she says, we can't skip logic of English because that's my favorite. I want to do that one. So the girl loves this curriculum, and I do too, because she loves it and it is so effective. It's working. She is learning how to read effectively. So we are now, let's see, a little over halfway through the Foundations B level, and we will just continue working on that level. And I just ordered Foundation C. It goes through level D, and that's the final level in the Foundations series. And so my plan is to just stick with this as our main language arts curriculum for this next year. Now, I'll also just show, here's the Whistling Whales book that goes with it, and the student book that goes with it. If you saw my review a few months ago, I did a review on Lightning Literature Grade 2, because I thought I would also be doing this in addition to the logic of English with her this next year. And as it turns out, I decided that I am actually going to wait on this just a little bit longer. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out the Logic of English Foundation series and get through book D, so she is a fluent reader at that point, before starting this, so that she can actually read the books in this rather than it just being read aloud books to her, or at least that she can read with help. So I have decided that we are just going to make the Logic of English our main language arts curriculum for Sophie for this next year, and I think that we will likely get through Foundations D probably before the end of the year, in which case at that point I have decided I probably won't go on to the next level up with Logic of English, which is Essentials, just because it is so expensive. What I really needed Logic of English for is teaching her how to read the how-to, and it is effectively doing that. And after that point, it is more practicing reading and reading literature. And at that point, I think that is a natural transition for us to move into the lightning literature at that point. So I think there's a good chance that we will finish the Logic of English series before her second grade year is over, in which case we will just move right on into lightning literature at that point. So I do have this, we aren't going to do it quite yet, we're not going to start it in the fall, but I do have it ready, waiting in the wings, so that we can move on to it once we finish the Logic of English series. So that said, Logic of English does cover, obviously, how to read, and it also covers spelling, which is great. It does the Orton-Gillingham approach, so it does the same approach as the All About Spelling curriculum, which is what I am using for my son. So once I get through using Logic of English, we'll probably move her into All About Spelling as well, just to keep that consistency going and learning the rules of spelling once she finishes the Logic of English curriculum. We could probably start her at a higher level at that point, probably at level 2 or level 3. We'll see. I'll just kind of test her at that point to see how her spelling is at that point. But for the time being, Logic of English covers spelling. So that's great. I don't have to do an additional spelling curriculum for her at this point. So that said, I do have a bunch of supplemental things that I am doing in addition to the Logic of English, just because she really needs that practice. She's definitely more of a neurotypical learner when it comes to learning how to read. So she needs a lot more of that, like, repetition, that kind of thing. Whereas Alex, it's like he learns it once, it's done, he's got it. Sophie definitely needs more of that repetition. That's more how I was when I was younger as well. So this is what I have for helping to supplement her reading. We are doing Explode the Code. I've talked about this in previous videos. This last year she finished book 1 and she is halfway through book 2, and I got all the way through book 4. So I have book 3 and book 4 waiting in the wings as well. So we will just work our way through those at the pace that we work our way through them. Once we get to book 4, I'll have to decide if we want, I know it goes up through like book, let's see, yeah, it shows on the back. It goes up through book 8. I'll have to decide if we want to continue at that point or not. I'll just kind of like make a judgment call at that point once we have finished book 4. So we are doing that as a supplement. And I've talked about this one in previous videos, Sight Words. This was just a book that I got at Costco, and it is just a bunch of sight words and practicing those sight words. And she's about a quarter of a way through this at this point. It is a huge, big, fat book. So we will probably be using this for a long time to come. Basically, I just ask her to read the next word, and if she can read it, then I skip it. If she can't read it, then we go over that sight word and we practice it. So we will just continue working our way through the sight words book. This is one we are just going to continue working through as well, that we started last year, Reading Pathways. It has the like pyramids with the building sentences using different phonics rules. And what I love about this is that it is amazingly aligning really well with the Logic of English that we're learning. So I just have her read like 1 page a week, and that's it. And that seems to be aligning really well with the phonics rules that we are learning in Logic of English. So this is just great practice that reinforces what she is learning in Logic of English. In Logic of English, they cover a little bit of the basics of grammar and punctuation. They do cover it, but it's not by any means comprehensive, I would say. So I thought that we would just move a year back and go through this Evan Moor Skill Sharpeners Grammar and Punctuation book to just strengthen her grammar skills. As you know, I'm a huge fan of Evan Moor books. This is really colorful and engaging, and she loves Evan Moor books too. She always asks to do the Evan Moor books because they're fun and they're colorful. We will just continue working through the first grade level, since that's about the level that she is reading with Logic of English. I figured we would just start at first grade. Once we get through this one, we'll move on to the second grade, unless she gets to Lightning Literature first, in which case grammar takes over in Lightning Literature. There is a grammar component in the Lightning Literature workbooks. So we're just going to play it by ear. We'll work through this during the year. If she finishes it and we're not on to the Lightning Literature yet, I will just order the next grade 2 grammar and punctuation, and then once we reach Lightning Literature, then the grammar will take over at that point. So next is handwriting. She's getting pretty good with her printing at this point. We have been using Handwriting Without Tears. We did the orange one, which was the kindergarten level last year. She actually got through all the way through that one and then started this one last year. So she's about a quarter of the way through this one now. We'll just continue working through the printing. It's just very basic, but has these little rules for forming the letters that really stick with her. This has been really effective. We really like Handwriting Without Tears. So I think that we'll just finish this printing book. And once she is done with that, I considered doing the Handwriting Without Tears cursive. This is a really superficial thing, but I don't like the way that their cursive looks. And so I actually have a couple of cursive books here that I will show you in a minute. They're the ones that I used with Alex that I will also use with Sophie. But before I mention that, I just wanted to show we will continue working on this Silly Sentences book as well. She started doing this last year, and we'll just continue on into second grade. It's just writing these silly sentences, and she gets to make up her own silly sentences, and this is just good printing practice, and as well as coming up with coherent sentences. Even though they are silly, she has to come up with a sentence. She's dictating it to me still, and I'm writing it for her, and she draws the picture, but it's still that composition process of coming up with sentences verbally, and that's been great. She loves this one. So then for the cursive, like I said, there are a couple of cursive books that I have used with Alex in the past. He has finished all of these, and he is now on to more of a fluency kind of book for his cursive. But this is just teaching basic cursive. And this was a book that I got through Amazon, and I decided to make it reusable by tearing out the pages and putting it in a binder with page protectors so that it's like dry erase. So that's what I have done. Alex used this, and it's just like learning how to form all the letters, and then it has learning how to write words, and I like the way that this cursive looks a lot better. So I will just have Sophie work through this one. Before I have her do that one, I might even start her with this one first. This one is the Priddy Learning Wipe Clean, and something about the flow of using a dry erase marker instead of a pencil makes starting to learn cursive a little easier. So I may actually do this one before the other one, and it's also a little bigger, which makes those motions a little easier as well. So you can see it just starts with, you know, flowing lines, and then slowly working into bigger letters. And you can see they're pretty big, so that makes it a little easier to learn when they're first learning. So, and I liked the style of this cursive as well. So we'll be doing that. If she needs any additional practice in addition to that, I just happen to have this cursive book lying around. I don't remember when I got this, but it's there. So if we need a supplement, it's just basic black and white, learning how to do it with a pencil. So I have that. We may or may not use it. We'll see. I almost forgot to mention, just as a supplement to her reading, while we're just doing the logic of English before we move into lightning literature, I do have these Bob books on hand, which I used with Alex. I might throw one of these in now and then just for her practicing her reading. I have collection 2 and I have collection 3 as well. So I may throw those in as well just for additional practice. And in terms of literature, since there is not, beyond the readers, there's not a literature component of Logic of English, and I won't be doing lightning literature simultaneously. What we're going to be doing for literature in the meanwhile is that she and I are just working through a number of chapter book series together that I am reading aloud to her. We have been reading the Ramona series. It was one of my absolute favorites when I was a kid, and we are about halfway through it now. It is so nostalgic reading it with her. I love it, and it's so much fun reading it like from a mother's perspective. Now it's hilarious. It's so well written and it's funny. So we are working through Ramona, the whole series, and we are also working through all of the series of the American Girl books as well. So I think that will be plenty of literature to keep us busy until we get to lightning literature. So that should keep us busy for several months. We just do read-alouds at bedtime. And so we'll just continue doing that, reading through those series. Now, in terms of writing, the Logic of English does cover handwriting, but it doesn't cover so much composition or how we use writing or how to compose right. So I have chosen a couple of books here. Basically the same ones that I'm using for Alex, I will be using for Sophie in terms of teaching her how to compose, how to write. She's just, she's 7 years old, so we're just at that point where she's just maybe starting to be able to compose sentences on her own. She can verbally. I'm hoping by this next year she'll be able to do some of that on her own. We started this summer with this real world writing from Moor, and it's for ages 6 to 7, and she's loved this. She thinks this is the most fun thing ever. She's so different than Alex. Alex detests writing. Even though Sophie is not that good at it yet, she loves it. I think she's going to be a little writer once she figures it out, once it really clicks. I think she's really going to enjoy it because things like this she already loves doing. We've made like a bumper sticker and like a sign for her room. We've learned about writing text messages and things like that, online messages, how to make a journal. We made a journal and she enjoys putting entries in her journal now. She'll dictate the sentence to me and then she'll draw a picture for it and add in some of the paste in pictures that are from this book and that kind of thing. So how to write a thank you card. She's really been enjoying this. She asks me to do this. As you can see, Moor, very colorful, engaging. I love Moor. So once we get through that, then I will be moving on to the same series that I am doing with Alex for writing with Sophie, but for her grade level. So that is the Moor Daily 6 Trait Writing. It has a schedule Monday through Friday, so what you do each day, 5 days a week. It's very structured, which is what I need. It's very open and go, which is what I need. Since she is still at about the first grade level in terms of reading, I thought I would do the first grade level for writing as well. So as you can see, this is like the teacher manual, and it has the kids pages as well, which you can copy, or what you can do is get the student practice book, which just has all the student pages in one workbook, which is a lot simpler than trying to copy all of those ahead of time, in my opinion. That's what this is for the student workbook. So I got the first grade level. Now, this will probably carry us through most of the school year. If, however, we get through it, I did also grab the grade 2 level as well, so we can just move on into that one. If we do, it'll probably be towards the end of the school year, and this one will probably carry into next year as well. Here's the student book to go with it. And then the last thing I got, since she seems to like the idea of writing so much, I got her this 50 writing prompts for kids book. I actually got this one for Alex too and forgot to mention it. I may or may not use it with him. I'm still kind of on the fence with him because his struggle with writing. Sophie, I think, will really like this. It's all sorts of fun writing prompts with place to write an answer to the question. So, for example, if you could build your dream house, what would it look like? Draw a picture and describe it. Would you rather understand what animals say or have them understand what you say? Would you rather travel to the past or the future? Why? If you found a genie, what would you wish for? Just like all sorts of fun prompts like that. And I think that Sophie, she's so creative. She's so imaginative. That is her gift. I think that she, if we need a little extra, we already have a lot going on here, but I think if we throw this in, I think she will enjoy it. Okay, let's move on to math. I have a little story to tell you because math has been a struggle with Sophie. So last year we started with the Good and the Beautiful Level 1 math with her, and it was just going over her head. Like, she enjoyed the little games and the visual appeal of it and everything, but it just wasn't registering with her. So I'm like, this isn't working. So I decided I would try Math Mammoth. Now, I am going to be using the 4th grade Math Mammoth for Alex, who will be my upcoming 4th grader. He is a very logical, mathematical brained kid. I think it will work really well for him. I tried the 1st grade level with Sophie this last year. No, that was a fail. She detested it. Like, every time I pulled it out, even the sight of it, it would trigger a meltdown in her, like full-blown meltdown. And it was just exhausting. It was exhausting for me. It was exhausting for her. It was just painful trying to get through it. And so I was like, you know what? It should not be this painful to get through math. Even if it's not her strong subject, like, it should not be this painful. So I was like, all right, we need to evaluate again. 3rd curriculum that we will have tried with her. Ultimately, I decided, okay, so some of the criteria that she needs in a math curriculum, it needs to be bright and colorful and engaging, because that makes a difference for her in her motivation. She is visual and spatial. If she has bright, colorful, visually appealing, that helps her mental state in getting over the hump for doing her math. It needed to be larger print with fewer problems on the page, because with Math Mammoth, even though it had some color, there weren't any like graphics or anything on the page, and it was just loaded with problems, and it was overwhelming to her to look at a whole page and there were all these problems, and it would just, she couldn't handle it. We were just trying to get through like a half a page with her, and that was overwhelming to her. So I needed a curriculum where like the print was bigger and there were fewer problems per page. Now, I was thinking, because she was struggling with math, that the mastery style of Math Mammoth would be good for her, that mastery would be good because she struggled with it so much, but it turns out I was wrong. I learned that because she has an ADHD brain, she needs more of the spiral method. She needs to have that variety. She needs to have, doing different things each time to keep her brain interested and engaged. Because if she's just practicing the same thing over and over and over and over, it's like drill and kill, and it kills her interest. She's gone, she's checked out. So she really needs to have more of a spiral method. So ultimately, I researched a whole bunch more different math curriculums. I did a deep dive with that, and ultimately I decided on Horizons. Now, we are a Christian family that chooses to use secular curriculum, and I have a whole video on that. If you want to see that, I will link it in the cards and in the description. The publisher is AOP. I can't remember what that stands for. It is a Christian curriculum company, but most of their Horizons math curriculum is pretty neutral. I haven't seen anything in here that is religious in any way. I hear that it maybe does show up a little bit in the later levels, which I can live with as long as it's not too overt, which I don't think it is, but in the younger levels it's completely neutral, very little mention of religious stuff at all. So I was like, okay, I can handle that, that's fine. And as you can see, much more bright, colorful, lots of graphics, bigger print. As you can see, like the math problems have like bigger print on them. It's a spiral method. So basically the way this curriculum works is when they are doing a lesson is 1 page front and back. That's it. That's all I have to do for the day. That feels doable to her because the number of problems that are on this page are big and colorful and not overwhelming to her. So doing 1 page front and back feels more doable to her. It's not as overwhelming to her. So this has finally been our winner. I mean, it's not perfect. She still struggles with math sometimes. She still struggles with motivation with math sometimes, but she has told me, I know we had to go through 3 curriculums, Mommy, but this one is my favorite. So she has told me this is the one she likes. I think this is what we are going to stick with. It seems to be working for her. So, been happy with it so far. Everything I've researched says that it's not like based on Common Core standards, but it covers the Common Core standards. It kind of even goes above and beyond. It is actually pretty advanced for the material that they cover per grade level. It's almost like a full half a year to a full year advanced for what you would expect for any given grade level. So she's going to 2nd grade, and we are starting the 1st grade level, since that it's both advanced and she's a little bit behind in math. So we landed on the 1st grade, and that seems to be working out great. That's right where she's at. We started working through it over the summer, and this is a winner so far. So there are 2 books. There's a book 1 and a book 2 for Horizons. So once we finish book 1, we'll move on to book 2. Since we started over the summer, there are like 100 and... how many are there? Let's look. There are 160 lessons, plus tests in there. The tests are just built right into here. It works out to about 180 lessons, which is pretty average for a school year. Since we started, actually at the end of last school year and into the summer, we will probably finish this before the end of the school year. So in which case I have Horizons grade 2 waiting in the wings for her once she finishes the grade 1. I feel confident enough that this program works for her that I just went ahead and bought the 2nd grade as well, because I was able to get a good deal on them. So Horizons is her new main math curriculum. Now, because she struggles so much in math, we have to do a lot of supplementing. So I've talked about this in previous videos, but we have Wild Math, which I keep in this binder here. Wild Math 1st grade. And this is like nature-based math, and it is so much fun. We love doing wild math, and I don't use this as a full curriculum, but I use it as a supplement. So basically we're just working our way through this to reinforce what she is learning in Horizons math, but in a very kinesthetic, hands-on, nature-based kind of way, which really works for her learning style, being very kinesthetic learner, ADHD. She likes to be active, she likes to be hands-on. So we will continue working our way through that. And I just got one of these School Zone math basics to practice her addition and subtraction, because she has really been struggling with memorizing the addition and subtraction facts. However, since we started Horizon and with these supplements, they are starting to stick now. I was considering, when I was looking at all the math curriculums, using Right Start Math, because I really loved all the different manipulatives that they use. I just could not justify the cost. It was so expensive. And so the compromise I made was that I just bought a lot of the key manipulatives that they use in Right Start Math, and I am incorporating them into the Horizons and these supplemental books that we are using for her as well. So like an abacus and like a number line, and I have like little linking cubes and that kind of thing. So we have a couple of books here that are specifically for practicing her addition and subtraction facts. So we have this whole highlights book series that I got for her last year that we are still working our way through now. She is just getting to the point now where she is ready to do the addition and subtraction, because these start going up into like addition and subtraction facts up to 20. So I think she is finally ready to do these. We just started doing these this last week, so we will continue those as well. And like I said, she's really visual, spatial, artistic little girl. And so I got this addition and subtraction color by number, and she likes this one as well. It just makes math artistic. So she has to solve the problem to color it in. It has a little key at the bottom for what color is what, and yeah, she really likes that. So we'll just continue working our way through this book as well. This book has been fantastic. I've talked about this in other books, but this is just, let's see, the brand is Thinking Kids Complete Book of Time and Money. This has just been a really solid supplement for learning time and money. It is very strategic, and it's very colorful as well. So as you know, Sophie needs color to be engaged. Lots of graphics, and generally she does better with a spiral approach, but this book goes with more of a mastery approach, which is working for time and money with her. So it starts with pennies. You learn counting pennies, then you move on to nickels, then you work on counting nickels, and then you work on your dimes, and you just do tons of practice on those and slowly build your way up. Same with learning time. You start with time to the hour, and then to the half an hour, and then to the quarter hour, and then to the minute. Just very slowly ramps up and gets a little more challenging as you go, and that's been working really well for Sophie in mastering her time and money. That's all I have for math for her. Now let's move on to science. Okay, so I talked about this curriculum, Scientific Connections Through Inquiry. This is level 0. I talked about this in my curriculum review of what Alex is doing as well. This year and next year we'll do level 3 with him. However, with Sophie, she's not taking any science classes through our parent partnership program. She did that in the past. This next year, we are officially going to be starting Scientific Connections Through Inquiry, and I'm going to be doing this with her and Teo together. So it's kind of a quasi-group subject, but all the material that's in here, Alex has mastered. Like, he's our science whiz. He mastered this stuff a long time ago. So he needed something more challenging. So this level 0 is right at the level that Sophie, my 7-year-old, and Teo, my 4.5, almost 5-year-old, will be at. It's something that they can do together. And they are pals. Sophie and Teo are buddies. I think they will be really excited to be doing science together this year. So I fell in love with this curriculum, even though I haven't used it yet. This curriculum is based on the Foundations for Scientific Understanding, which is a very popular book for people who want their kids to have a very solid science background. So it's based on the method of that book, but it's a little more open and go. You know, it has all the lesson plans laid out for you and everything, and all of the materials that you need for experiments and everything you likely just have sitting around your house. So I'm really excited about this, and they are as well. This curriculum is colorful, like I said in my review with Alex. Even the teacher's manual is in bright color, and I love it. And I mentioned this in Alex's review as well. They have this thing called baloney detection kit, which is so needed in our day and age when people believe all sorts of bad science and everything. This is learning how to think critically and to be able to determine information that you are getting is solid scientific information or not. Be able to be a baloney detector when it is baloney. It is amazing. I just love that they incorporate that into this curriculum as well. This is the teacher manual, and this is the student book as well. So I purchased this and printed it off. So it was a little bit pricey with all of the ink and everything printing in color, but it was worth it, and I'm going to be using it for 2 kids. And I got the Next Level Up for Alex, which I will also be using for Sophie and Teo once they get older as well. So that's what we're doing for science. Social studies. Up to this point, I have not done a specific social studies curriculum with Sophie. I had Alex just doing the IXL social studies this last year, but now I think Sophie being in 2nd grade, that's a good time to start incorporating like grade level standards for social studies. We decided not to do IXL this year, and instead we decided to do Shell Education 180 Days of Social Studies for 2nd grade. So it basically just has breaks it down 5 days a week, 1 page a day kind of thing. Very simple, but it teaches civics, economics, geography, and history. Now, if you have not seen our group subjects video, I will link it here in the description below. We do history together as a family, so we will be covering much more in-depth history, but this just kind of touches briefly on, you know, what a 2nd grader should know at this point. So, like I said in Alex's review, it's black and white, so that's the one thing I don't like about it. Like, I wish it was in color, but it is very thorough and it follows Common Core standards. So I think this will be a good foundation for starting social studies with Sophie. And like Alex, I am also incorporating geography, the Evan Moor Skill Sharpeners Geography, grade 1. Since we didn't do this last year, I think we haven't really done very much geography with Sophie, so I think this will be a really good foundation to start with her. And since this is a smaller book, if we work our way through this year, then we will move on to the grade 2 geography level. So just have that one waiting for when she finishes the first one. So that is what I have for social studies. Now I have a couple of random things that are not subjects per se in themselves, but they are just like a few additional things that we do. So this is something that she started last year. It's the 1st grade brain quest. I just got this at Costco. I like this because it just reinforces all of the skills that she's learning in all of the subjects, and she thinks this book is really fun, so she enjoys doing this. So we just do like 1 page of this a day kind of thing as well. So once she finishes the 1st grade level one, I I think I got this off of like a Buy Nothing group, a local Buy Nothing group or something, so I got this for free. The second grade level of Brain Quest. So we'll just move right on into this one when she's done. This, I've talked about this one, critical thinking. This is one that I do with both Sophie and Alex. I just work through the same lesson with both of them, just one lesson a week. We just are working very slowly through this, and this has been a really great book. We'll continue that with Sophie as well. And finally, since we talk about spiritual things on Sundays, I thought I would also incorporate this Evan Moor Heart and Mind, talking about mental health, spiritual health, closely related. So I think this is just really good in terms of talking about feelings and emotions, kind of reinforcing kind of the things they're learning in therapy. Good stuff. This is really good stuff. So we will continue doing that as well. So those are the individual homeschool Sophie will be doing. Now I should also mention, like I said earlier, we are part of our district's parent partnership where the kids get to take classes this school that we are a part of. And it's made to help supplement homeschooling families. It's an incredible program, and I am just so glad that we are a part of it. It really gives the kids that social aspect that they are not getting when they're at home. So that's really good. This year, Sophie is only going to be taking 2 classes there. She's going to be doing her 3rd year of Spanish, and she will also be taking art and movement class, which is like a class for K through 2, like fun art and kind of stuff together, and Teo will join along with her for that. But those are the only 2 classes that she will be taking through our parent partnership this year. She also, this last year, has started doing therapy, so that will just be once a week that we work that into our schedule as well. Anyway, that is it for my 7-year-old daughter, Sophie, for her individual subjects for the 2022-2023 school year. If you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And if this is the kind of content that interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button on this video. And we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.